All right. Glad to see all of you. I'm so glad that this conference came together. I know many of you guys are thanking me for putting it together. I didn't really put it together. Okay, it's like Jordan's done a lot of the work, and I really want to appreciate them. And but we have before us three candidates for office up here. So this is a cool panel that I get to do a little bit with. But yeah, Blake, you're running for Senate in Arizona. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you're hoping to do for the people of Arizona?
Yeah. Whoa, sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Arizona and met my wife in middle school in Tucson. We live in Tucson now. I've got 3 beautiful boys. Started my career out in Silicon Valley until very recently I was running Peter Thiel's investment firm. And so I've made my living as a startup investor for the last few years. My sort of best crypto story is we took Vitalik as a Thiel fellow in 2015. So we were smart enough to understand, hey man, this kid is next level in Ethereum, this could be a cool project. Not smart enough to invest in the ICO. Oops, right? But I've been a crypto fan, sort of Bitcoin head for a number of years, and got a chance to move back to Arizona a few years ago. Wasn't really the state that I remember growing up. Arizona has become more of a swing state. It became a lot more blue. Now we have 2 Democrat senators, and Kirsten Sinema is actually pretty interesting, right? And I actually give her some credit for being willing to hold onto the filibuster, which is huge. Mark Kelly is more of a dyed-in-the-wool, rubber stamp for the Schumer-Biden agenda. And so when I got home and I realized, man, the state's changed and Mark Kelly's in there. He won in 2020, or so they say. And he's in, I thought, no way. Like, I can do better than that. And, like, why not, right? And then so I felt that call to serve and put the business career on pause. And just out there running for Senate, I think, God willing, I'm going to be the next senator for Arizona because things are going well. I'm getting traction, and I'm having fun out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, awesome. All right, Jesse, you are running for governor of Illinois. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what's going on in Illinois, I guess?
Yeah. So I'm a 5th-generation Illinoisan, and I love my home state of Illinois, but it is... I might switch. Hey, thanks. It is the worst-run state in the nation, and we're always behind on everything. We lost 120,000 people last year alone that fled the state. And where does all the talent flee to? The free states, those that are leading the way, like down here in Florida, Texas, Wyoming. I want to be the land of the free again back in Illinois. I want it to be the land of Lincoln, with really character, integrity, honesty back in our politics again. 4 of the last 11 governors have gone to prison in the state of Illinois, so we have not set a high bar living up to being the land of Lincoln. So for me, my faith drives my entire life, and I grew up working on a farm, these values of faith, family, and service, and I just really want to represent those values again. I was doing tech VC investing mainly to create jobs and grow the economy around the world, and then I look back at home, and it's like, freedom, democracy, capitalism, all of these things are under attack right here at home. What's my obligation to step up and try to lead on the political side? It's almost an insult to say I'm a politician because I don't have much respect for politicians, but I really felt called to try to be a leader and step back up, get crime under control in the city of Chicago, stand up for the values of freedom and faith again in our home state of Illinois.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Bruce, you are running for Senate in the great state of New Hampshire. So can you tell us a little bit more about why you're running and what's going on there?
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy, and thanks for being here. This is a really great event with a great feel to it. Like the other 2 gentlemen here, I got my start in investing, so I've been an investor for a long, long time, and I started in Bitcoin about 9 years ago. And I've been pretty much full-time in Bitcoin since then. And like a lot of Bitcoiners, I care about things like freedom and liberty and personal sovereignty and human rights and these kind of things. And it's just time. I felt like there was sort of a calling for this because of what's going on in the world right now, where we're facing really true evil, and we have opportunity for really true good. There's some very, very good things in the world going on, Bitcoin one of them. And I'm really optimistic. So I just jumped in only a week ago. It's very unusual, very different than the other Senate races, which have kind of been fighting it out for a year. But New Hampshire has this really strange situation that it's kind of anybody's game right now. And so I jumped in, and I'm really excited about it. I hope to bring those kind of Bitcoiner values and values. I think we need more faith as well in the world and in our country, because as I said, we see things that are going on that are just truly evil. So it's time to get good people in there, and we've all got to do something about this. And I'm optimistic about the future.
All right, great. All right, so question for you guys. First one is, how are you educating yourself on Bitcoin so far? I mean, even if you've been in it for a while, like Bruce has, there's always more to learn. There's always more aspects that are being discovered as it goes along. So how are you educating yourself, and how does your worldview, your faith worldview, affect your education of Bitcoin?
Pass back. Yeah, great question. How do I educate myself on it? The first thing to do is I kind of surrender. I understand that I cannot actually be on the cutting edge anymore. For a while in crypto, I thought I could, and then nope, things just move so fast. Every year we'd be interviewing a new class of Teal fellows, and all of a sudden it just, it's like, man, it makes me feel old, right? These 18-year-olds, these 19-year-olds, boom, they're doing stuff with, stuff that I don't even understand, right? Okay. So as I run for office, what I've done is I think I've just signaled, both humility and also interest, right? And that turns out that's enough, because there's an amazing Bitcoin community, and when people see a candidate who's genuinely interested in this stuff, there are some candidates who throw the little Bitcoin emoji on their Twitter bio, and one suspects that that's just kind of a fake. But I think if you signal genuine interest, and it's like, hi, I'm decent at this stuff, I'm amateur, but help me out. What specifically is wrong with these provisions in this infrastructure bill? What, Elizabeth Warren, she's making this argument that Bitcoin's bad and we need to ban it because it's environmentally destructive, and it's like, I know that's BS, but can I get some talking points, please? You guys all know this better than me, so help me out so that I can go on Tucker Carlson and spread the word. So I've been really reliant on the community to help me, and people have. And then just more widely, how do faith and Bitcoin interact? It's interesting. So I'm Catholic, and a lot of people assume that Catholicism and Bitcoin have to be just opposites, right? Bitcoin being decentralized and inherently skeptical of central authority, and the Catholic Church being like, man, the only institution in the world. I think I can reconcile these though, because there is, especially in Protestantism, right? There's a deep history of sort of Christian skepticism of centralized authority and all that. But even in Catholicism, right? Core to our social teaching is this principle of subsidiarity, right? And it means basically decentralization. It means that systems exist, yes, and institutions like the church, they exist, but they exist for individuals, right? It's not the other way around. And so what an individual can do, an individual should do, and society should not come and impose on that. What a small society or locality can do, a bigger society shouldn't take over, right? And so this principle of subsidiarity, to me, is timeless. The application changes, but if you live in a world, 2022, where central banks and Wells Fargo, they'd probably love to cancel everybody in this room for owning a checking account. Maybe it's pretty wise, actually, if we're called to be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. Maybe to be wise in 2022, you actually have to take stewardship of your own money and embrace some of these decentralized principles. And I think Bitcoin and the future, the financial freedom it promises people, in an age of centralization and control, where they do want to come after Christians. To me, it's just imperative that we keep this free and innovative and see what happens.
Good stuff. Thank you. Jesse?
Yeah, so other than reading your book, Jimmy, to keep up with things on Bitcoin, I also have been on the tech VC side. So we do investing in emerging tech cities around the world. And so we've backed, in Lagos, Nigeria, Nestcoin, and you see some of these use cases, especially in emerging tech cities, where really for me, it started in El Salvador, funny enough, and what's happened in El Salvador, but I was a college student there. And I went there to study theology and religion, and I was holding a little kid that was dying of starvation. And I'll never forget, it was like God asking me, hey, commit yourself to this. Like Tim was up here talking about, this isn't optional. You have to give your life to this to help people in need. So I went on this long journey of failing my way forward to try to help with global poverty. And in that, I learned, man, international foreign aid and handouts, this is actually not bringing people up out of poverty. You know, handouts weren't working. It was about job creation and growing the economy, and that could actually create lasting value. But also these remittances. Remittances actually brought a ton more into the economy than any foreign aid, but these agencies were taking 10%, 6 to 10% of that money, and it seemed criminal. And then whenever you got solutions that can help with that, so that you're putting more money in the pockets of those most vulnerable, it became very obvious. And then now with inflation just being another very obvious